Welcome to ETAuto Leaders Speak. This is a program where we try to bring in top industry leaders to talk about the situation and the plan of the company. And today we are lucky to have been joined by Mr. Martin Schwenk, who is MD and CEO of Mercedes-Benz India. Mercedes-Benz is India's largest luxury car manufacturer, having India is one of the largest product portfolio, even for the mass, bigger than or almost equal to the mass segment manufacturer Maruti Suzuki India Limited. They have over 100 sales network spread across the country. Today, they are planning to launch their first electric SUV EQC, and as I learned from the sources that they are going to expand this EQ portfolio in a much bigger way to understand how the recovery also in luxury segment shaping compared to the mass segment. We have learned that the company has been able to achieve about 80% of the pre-COVID era. And how does it look like going forward? Thank you, Martin, for joining us today, and it's always pleasure talking to you. To begin with, can you give us a sense? Electric vehicle, this is your first electric vehicle, and in times like this when people probably look forward to a more stable, reliable or legendary technology, you are introducing electric vehicle. What's the sense behind it? And not only introducing electric vehicle, but you have a beefed up or very strong plan in electric space.
Yeah, I think we have to look into the bigger picture. Mercedes is totally on a journey which we call Ambition 2039. It's about developing a sustainable future. It's about carbon dioxide neutral footprint as a company, and that's also true for products. And quite clearly, the cars are the cornerstone of this development. And what we believe is, the time is ready. We see a lot of traction. People are asking us, what are you doing? We see more and more customers really being interested. They get aware about environmental situation and questions, and they want to act in a responsible, in a sustainable way as well. So we believe the development is as such that it's a good moment to launch the vehicle. It's also, I think, helpful that the government policies in that direction are also supportive. You have reduced GST, drastically reduced GST. You pay like 5% only compared to a combined GST and cess, which would be around 48 to 50%. So that will definitely help adoption and develop some momentum for electric vehicles. And we want to be the first who offers to the customers a luxury vehicle as a luxury electric vehicle, something that is not available in the Indian market so far. And we think we can get some first mover advantage there as well. I mean, we'll have a lot of open-minded, people who are really interested in taking latest technology. So we believe we have a chance to really set a trend here.
Right, Martin, and that reflects from Mercedes' strategy also of late. We have seen you are trying to catch up all the trending technology, be it connected or electric mobility. But looking at the entire, luxury car segment or entire luxury space, we don't see the buoyancy in luxury space as much as we see in the mass segment when it comes to bouncing back. Look at the mass segment passenger vehicle. The recovery has almost been more than the pre-COVID times. The volumes are more than pre-COVID times. In luxury, hardly 60-70% of the volume of pre-COVID has returned. In such a time, how do you see the future shaping in terms of demand, especially when we are entering into the festive season? That is one of the best seasons for sale. What are your hope and expectation for this?
Well, you see me quite hopeful at the moment. I mean, we have had, I think, a quite good September month. We could see month over month a growth of around actually more than 25%. And you already mentioned by now we are at 80 to 80% of our pre-COVID volumes. That is, I think, considering the overall situation, quite a good development. And now with heading into the festive season, people also want to come back to some level of normalcy. And we see what we had hoped for as well, that our interactions get more frequent, customers are interested, we have showroom traffic, we have online traffic quite in a substantial way. So we have actually quite a positive expectation about now the next quarter. And I'm positive that the festive season will take up this momentum which we have built up, and also give us some good sales there. You know, we all are individuals. We all want to go back to some level of normalcy, and we see that also in the consumer behavior. Maybe it was a little slower in the luxury segment, also because of I mean, most of luxury customers, they have a vehicle, they have a car, they don't have the ultimate need to purchase a vehicle. They can defer a purchase and look into how situations is developing to get an understanding. A lot of our customers are business owners. I mean, they want to understand what their business is doing, and they have had a lot of question marks on their business as well. Now, if you look into overall economic development, say September, there is a lot of indicators which go into the right direction, and that brings also a lot of confidence back, I would believe, into our customer base. So we can hopefully unleash that and use the momentum we're having for the next couple of months.
Optimism always plays well. But looking at the GDP number, you talked about economic activities. The GDP number tumbled down historically, you know. And as they say that GDP or economic activity completely reflects on automobile sector as well. It's almost like a barometer of the economic activities that's taking place. Looking at those, we understand that there was unconventional time or unprecedented challenge that came in that brought down the market, completely closed for a long time. That hasn't bearing on the GDP numbers that we saw. But looking at the recovery, do you see, are you convinced, do we have enough you know, change that is happening that will probably speed up the recovery in the economy, and that will reflect in the automobile space also, if they are?
I already mentioned, I mean, the fiscal year prognosis obviously is not that strong after the months, say, from April to August. I mean, the slump was substantial, and if you take such a long period with very limited or reduced economic activity, then for sure you have a major impact on the annual situation itself. But you also are aware of developments out of the last couple of weeks. I mean, everyone was satisfied with a strong monsoon. We see a lot of attraction in all areas, also in tier 2, tier 3 cities in terms of development. Again, we see a housing sector, we see purchase manager indices. So if you really look into that, it is maybe too early to say we are out of the woods. Surely we are not, but the trends are positive. The unlock certainly helps. I mean, now we're at unlock 5.0, so that brings a lot of economic activity back as well. So with that, I would think the trend is there and positive, and there is a chance to come back to something which is closer to normal. Of course, it won't be completely normal. I mean, not for us, not for me, not for you, and not for any one of our customers or spectators at the moment. It won't be normal as such, but we want to live as normal as possible life, and I think a lot of that is happening right now.
As we see the rebound in a post-COVID era, do you see any kind of change in the market trend, business trend that you had, like certain geographies doing better, certain kind of customers are coming more stronger? Can you give us a sense how market is reacting in this rebound time for you?
I mean, for sure, we see some trends. For example, we see a trend that some customers prefer now using road instead of say flying, yeah, in distances which 5, 6, 8 hours in the past they might have not been keen in putting themselves into a vehicle. So we see for example some demand in intercity travels, and that causes for example traction on the E-Class, where you have a comfortable car traveling also between cities. So there is some motivation in these areas. We see trends, for example, used cars are very attractive. We have additional traction there. We see trends that are, for example, from a purchasing behavior, say 15 to almost 20% of our monthly sales are now supported by an e-commerce interaction, which is much more than we would have thought even 6 months ago, even though it's more than 6 months that we launched an e-commerce platform to purchase a new or a used car in our system. So there's trends we see there. In terms of markets, I would think I already mentioned that the in the tier 2, tier 3, there's also a lot of say farming activity that gives some boost also to that. But overall, I wouldn't say there's specific pockets I can mention here. Everywhere where the markets opened earlier and faster, we get better traction. Wherever there is an issue about increased COVID and potentially business activity being reduced, or we had to reduce showrooms and dealerships again some months back, that obviously always hampers the development. But overall, I would think the trends are positive in most of the markets.
So you pointed out electronic transaction that's happening. The complete transaction is happening online, or they are still coming to showroom to make final payment, or you see some of them are happening completely end to end?
Let me say it like this: there's always a level of interaction which is necessary for paperwork and so forth. We have not a completely electrified process, but it doesn't mean you have to come to the showroom. I think there's everything from what I would say an assisted purchase, where there is communication with a sales consultant in an online way, to end-to-end booking is there as well. However, what we consider an online sale is when there is a down payment being a big booking fee being paid online. So it doesn't mean the full car is paid via the online channel. So that's not the case. But you know, if you look into the trends, you still see a lot of lead generation coming out of the online space, and then eventually the booking also being paid online, as customers who come first to the showroom and then they go online, pick a car and take the booking there. So there's everything in that space. So it's not a clear cut like you would maybe order food. Yeah, it is definitely a process which is multi-pronged, but net over it means we see around 15 to 20% of that then really in transacting in terms of booking fee, booking payment.
Martin, last 2 years has already been very weak when it comes to sales. How do you see this year ending? Do you think we'll be able to enter the green territory, or we will remain in red this year?
I mean, it is impossible to achieve a situation this year that is better than last year. That's barely impossible. If you wipe out 3-4 months of sales, essentially, you can never make that up. Yeah, and I mentioned already we had 70-80% of sales. So in the luxury segment, we should expect the whole year maybe 40% down, maybe 50% down. And we will have. I would still think we can do a little bit better than the segment itself. But of course, the impact is there and it's substantial. So I think that is if you just look into the period, say late March till August, it's just too much time which we lost in selling cars. And now when coming back, I think, you know, if we are in November, December on levels that are comparable with previous years, then we can be how can I say, positive about then 2021.
Let's come back to your today's star that is going to come to India. That's EQC. Can you give us a sense what is your target customer? What's going to be the cost, and how are you going to target your potential customers for this kind of vehicle? What's your volume expectation, and how do you want to expand this electric portfolio going forward?
Yeah, I mean, from a target customer, we're really looking at customers who are at the forefront of technological development. We look at customers who are very aware of their ecological footprint, and they're interested in sustainability, and they want to make a point as well. They want to show that they have a green number plate and they're part of the ecological movement here as well. What we really believe, these customers, they want a vehicle which is stylish, which is also very, how can I say, agile. At the same time, they want a real luxury vehicle, and I think that's our main proposition. We offer a luxury, a real Mercedes as an electric car on the road, and that will for sure find its customers. How many, I wouldn't be privy to tell you, but I think, of course, we're not looking into a major volume model to compete with our, say, GLEs also, but I would clearly think it is more than a pure niche, so we will definitely get some reasonable traction there. So that's what I would say at the moment. So how we develop the portfolio will massively also depend on the one hand, what is the framework doing? We're talking about existing advantages in GST, for example, or infrastructure. It also depends on how is the customer adoption. Do we see traction? What is the expectation? What do the customers need from Mercedes as a brand? There's a full lineup of vehicles coming in the next few years. So there will be battery electric vehicles, more than 5 in the next 2-3 years, which are solely battery driven. And we will then also look into which of these cars we will bring to India then, depending on the market development at the same time.
Are you looking at some kind of strategic alliance or partnership to ensure, that you weed out all those kind of challenges of infrastructure, charging, etc.?
For say infrastructure for charging, we have taken a path that we say we will provide the customer with a wall box, which what we call it, which allows the customer to charge the vehicle at their home or at their office. Say in 10 to 12 hours, it will be fully charged. So an overnight charge is there at home, so it will be readily full every point in time. We also expect that most of the traffic will happen in major metros first, which means then you have a 50 to 100 kilometer movement a day. Then you don't have to charge more often than once or twice a week, with a range which is certified around 450 kilometers, even if it's in real life a little less. That is not a problem for the normal metro commute, but also if you take intercity travel, it's possible in my view to do. So that's our main field, but we have also taken care of this concern by fitting out all of our dealerships. We have, as you mentioned already, around 100 points over the country, where we have installed charging points, so there is a possibility to charge at the dealers. We have in our GPS system, in the MBUX system, we have put in every available in the country, publicly available DC charging point with the fast charging possibility. So there's more than 100 points you can find if you just search via the normal navigation system. And then within like 40 minutes, you can get to 80% of charge. But of course, it is a developing portfolio. We think we don't have the scale to work on saying infrastructure here in India. I mean, with the number of cars we're looking at, it wouldn't be a viable proposition for us to go into fitting out the country with fast chargers, for example. That we just don't have the volume to do that, quite frankly. So we're looking into what we can do, and that is the strategy I told you. Home charging, it's about dealership locations, and it's about making accessible via our interactive GPS system and navigation system the publicly available charging points.
Thank you, Martin. One last question: how much is it going to cost to the people? Don't worry, this go live after you launch it.
That was the question I want to ask. So we launched the car today. We launched the car today at 99.3 lakh. which I already mentioned. For the first 50 cars, it comes not only with the wall box and installation to that, it also comes with a 5-year service package, 5-year warranty, and it comes with an 8-year battery warranty. So overall, I think a very good offering, and it gives the customer for many years really worry-free driving. So we believe we are on a very good start here with this vehicle.
Thank you so much, Martin, for joining ETAuto Leaders Speak today. Thank you so much for watching ETAuto. Stay tuned. Listen to ETAuto, read ETAuto, and watch ETAuto for more insights and updates on automotive industry. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Nabe. Cheers.
Thank you, Martin.